Planet Dolan. What disease did a neighbor fake to get out of doing lawn work? Why did someone pretend to be an undercover FBI agent? From the crazy to the just plain mean, here are 10 of the worst neighbors imaginable. How's it going? I'm Danger Dolan. I'm here to decipher some random things I found on the internet the other day that I think you might be interested in. Number 10. Cat lady. You know how a lot of apartments have restrictions on what kind of pets you can have? It's usually something like 2 pet maximum with weight or breed restrictions and whatnot. Well, there was a woman who caused her entire apartment building to reek of cat pee. Complaints to the apartment managers did nothing, so neighbors eventually called animal control. They found 30 cats in the woman's apartment, living in squalid conditions. Animal control took those cats in and the apartment complex convicted the woman. Number 9. A neighbor whose home went uncared for with overflowing trash bins and a dying lawn had a really good excuse. She had cancer. Her head was shaved, she had a limp with cane and everything, but when someone brought her cookies and offered to take care of the trash and lawn for her, she spilled the beans. She didn't have cancer. She's faking it so she wouldn't have to take care of the house she was renting. That bit of information got back to the neighbor's landlord. The fake cancer patient exacted her revenge by blasting loud music late at night. When the inevitable noise complaint came in, the woman told the police that her neighbor had punched her in the chest. Not only did security camera footage prove that to be untrue, but fake cancer neighbor was seen locking her 9-year-old daughter out of the house and spraying her with a hose at 2 in the morning. Number 8. One of the more harmless things this guy did was accuse his neighbors of smoking when they didn't smoke at all. But he earned the nickname Mr. Fire by the people who watched a bizarre scene unfold involving a smoldering trash can. Apparently he was cooking a steak and accidentally ignited the meat. Not knowing how to put the fire out, he just threw the entire pan into the trash can. The trash can naturally started melting, so he threw the entire can out the window into the garden below. He was forced to move out, not just because of that, but also because of a later incident in which he bursted a pipe by flushing one of his adult diapers down the toilet. Number 7. When a new family moved to the block, they seemed nice enough at first. That wasn't until one day when the 9 and 6-year-old kids in the family started yelling profanities at the other kids and throwing things at them for no reason. Nobody retaliated, but the young kids went back and told their mother that people were being mean to them. This spawned chaos throughout the entire neighborhood as suspicious vandalism started showing up. There were even some dangerous traps laid, like boards with nails in them placed behind car tires. Nobody ever got hard proof of who was doing it or why, but it mysteriously stopped when that family moved away. Number 6. Sometimes neighbors have a legitimate gripe with your pet. Sometimes it's crazy, like the woman who called her neighbor's white Labrador Retriever a death dog, despite it never attacking anybody or doing anything remotely aggressive. After she called the police on the dog for no reason 3 times, the police warned her not to call again. So instead, she started throwing food over the fence and pouring cleaning chemicals on them. After the dog's owners caught her on camera doing exactly that, her husband came over to apologize and begged them not to call the police on her. The woman finally left the dog alone and instead started climbing the fence to destroy their landscaping and pull all the flowers out of their flower bed. Number 5. It's kind of expected that every once in a while you'll have neighbors who throw a somewhat unruly party. But one guy's neighbors in college would throw parties all the time, and every time they would, a TV would get broken. It was like tradition. How did he know his neighbors were breaking their TV at parties? Because they would throw it out the window or off the balcony to smash on the pavement below. And not a flat screen TV either. Giant, heavy CRT TVs. This apparently happened about once a month. Press F to pay respects. I wish I had a CRT that was in working condition. Assholes. Number 4. Paranoia is a strange thing. One man had to deal with his downstairs neighbor pretending to be some sort of secret agent out to get him. Specifically, she would stage cringeworthy fake phone calls to headquarters talking about the suspicious behavior of returning home after 9 o'clock in the evening. She also shouted at another set of neighbors who had a flower pot in their window, which was apparently a signal that they were a drug dealer. Eventually, she posted this so-called FBI notice in the building stairwell. She got a taste of her own medicine after a man staged his own fake phone call, talking about how impersonating the FBI was a felony. The notice was gone an hour later. Number 3. This guy probably didn't mean to be a bad neighbor, he just had an extreme case of hoarding. His front and back porch were filled with junk, and he couldn't just use his front door because it was blocked by stuff on the inside. His backyard featured grass that was several feet tall and a breeding ground for mosquitoes. He spent most of his days at the library and often slept in his truck. Eventually the man died, and after dozens of truckloads of trash were taken to the dump, the trash was still hip deep. Bloody hoarders?
Number 2.
When one family got evicted from their house because their mortgage was 8 months behind, things got crazy. The last week before they were forcibly removed from their house, they started selling everything. Seriously, everything in the house. Bathroom fixtures, the oven, even the doors. The entire house was gutted and everything was removed and put on sale. By the time they left, there were only 3 things left in the house: their dog, their cat, and their son.
Number 1.
In the southeastern United States, you're never too far away from a meth lab, but you usually don't know it. One guy definitely knew it. His neighbor would ride his ATV up and down the street, firing his guns in the air at random. He would shoot up drugs in the middle of the day outside in plain view, and his booby-trapped meth lab in the woods was basically a town landmark. If that wasn't bad enough, drugs would frequently just show up in the wrong mailbox. The man had 72 indictments against him, but every time the police would actually show up and arrest him, he'd go to prison for 3 months, come back, and get right back to it. This video was made possible by our fans over on Patreon. Thanks for your support, guys. That is it for this countdown. Have a good one!